Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. It is Thursday, February 18th, 2016, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's what's coming up tonight.
Tonight, the social media ban of conservative voices. Then,
look at you. Men like us, son, we do dumbbell presses with weights bigger than you.
A police captain's message to wanted criminals. After that, See Something, Say Something goes online. And the morality of criticizing a man for wanting to build a wall while you yourself live behind one. That's next.
Mother! Can you keep them in the dark for life? Can you hide them from the weighted world? Oh, mother! Father! Gonna take your daughter out tonight. Gonna show her my world.
Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction, easy assembly, low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.
Well, the big news today surrounding the Pope's visit to the U.S.-Mexico border were his harsh words that he had for Donald Trump.
E poi una persona che pensa soltanto in fare muri, sia dove sia, e non fare ponti, non è cristiano.
And in typical Trump fashion, he was very quick to respond.
No leader, especially a religious leader, should have the right to question another man's religion or faith. They're using the Pope as a pawn, and they should be ashamed of themselves. That's the Mexican government. They should be ashamed of themselves for doing so, especially when so many lives are involved and when illegal immigration is so rampant and so dangerous and so bad for the United States. Okay? Period. That's it. Period.
And joining me now, straight from the Vatican, Pope Francis himself with the response. Now, we know you've already given up the Pope Mobile because you didn't want to seem hypocritical while you're pushing Agenda 21 on the rest of the world. But now you're saying those who build walls aren't Christian, and you yourself live behind massive walls.
Well, that is why I have a new name, a Pope, a hypocrite. Because I live behind a big wall, you must take in the immigrants. Evil American empire.
And I always love that, you know, when you preach and extol how we should help the poor, usually you're doing it from a golden throne.
Yes, and we have lots of money, and don't worry that we smuggle cocaine in our Pope mobiles. Pay no attention to that, or the young boys that we pick up at the local train station in Roma.
Ooh, scandal.
Yeah, actually, Leanne, it really is disgusting that we do have this guy running around the world telling us and everybody else how they have to do their business. He literally lives behind giant walls.
Giant walls. Let's take a look at the pictures. I know we've got some B-roll. You were actually there. You saw these things in the flesh. They're 39 feet tall. They're
taller in other places. I mean, these walls are huge.
The original walls that were built in like the 800s, completed in the 800s.
They're super thick. You know, the Pope can seal off his entire kingdom if he wants to. He hasn't taken one immigrant in. You know, we're taking in Syrian refugees even at this point right now, mainly Muslims. I think we've only done 2 Christians at this point, and 600 Muslims this year. So, you know, for him to go around and just say this stuff and then attack Trump and saying he's not a Christian, he's not this, Trump's trying to change, I guess, you know, in his mind, he wants to change this country. He wants to change from what we are as kind of this, oh, whatever.
Come on in, here's a bunch of free stuff.
Here's a bunch of free stuff to go. No, we're going to seal our borders. We're going to change the way we do things. We're going to make deals that are beneficial to the United States. And, you know, hopefully he's not a warmonger.
We're not going to follow your New World Order agenda that you're pushing. And of course, the Pope wants to be the president of the world. And so let's take a look at these walls. So this is coming out of the Daily Caller. They break it down. And so the first 39-foot wall around the Vatican and its immediate vicinity was finished in 852. This was following a raid by Muslim pirates who damaged the city. That wall also helped to protect Pope Gregory VII about 200 years later when the Holy Roman Emperor besieged Rome. After Rome was sacked in 1527, Pope Paul III expanded the fortifications, and additional defenses continued to be built until the 1640s. And then in more recent history, the walls have served to literally wall off the Pope from the outside world, as popes in the late 1800s, early 1900s refused to leave the Vatican due to their denial to recognize the country of Italy. And now it just allows the guards to prevent any unauthorized access to the Vatican.
Well, and the Vatican's got their own bank. They're a completely autonomous site. They have diplomatic immunity. They can do pretty much whatever they want, and they investigate themselves. So when you have these sex scandals that come out, or these money laundering scandals, or they're finding cars, I think in France and in Germany, they found different cars that belong to the Vatican with like pounds of cocaine in them.
Right.
Okay, they're literally running drugs out of the Vatican, and yet he's going to tell us, he goes down to Mexico, tell them they're corrupt. He wants to just speak out against everybody else, but he's fine. He hasn't cleaned his house yet. So that's why it's kind of hard to go around and tell everybody else what they should be doing when your own house is a dirty cesspool.
Right, when you're surrounded by art and gilded structures and talking about
an amazing
you need
place.
to help the poor people.
But it is creepy. As amazing as it is looking at all these ancient artifacts, especially like the golden statue of I think it was Samson, when that was the one that was saved when Rome got sacked. There's an interesting story there. But also the creepiness of some of the statues there, and then some of these hallways that are just like dark and nobody's going down them, and then you got guys walking around with machine guns, you got guys telling you to be quiet all the time. When you're in the Sistine Chapel, actually, they let just a few people in at a time, and you have these guys over loudspeakers, silence, be quiet. I'm like, that is the loudest thing going on in here right now. People are in awe of the beauty that's going on, above them and all around them, and they're being yelled at. So completely hypocritical. I've been calling him Pope Hypocrite now for a few weeks now, especially since he went to Mexico and just started spouting all this. And what's interestingly enough, when you listen to the Trump quote, he's saying, look, ISIS wants to attack Rome. They want to attack the Vatican. Leo Zagami has in his book, The Last Pope, he's even got a picture where ISIS put out this, piece of propaganda with their flag above St. Peter's Cathedral. That is a target.
Right.
And, that's why he has his walls. Exactly. And so we've got hordes of immigrants pouring in. We're just letting them come in. We don't stop them. Our border checkpoints are 90 miles away from the border. And that's just set up to harass people going to South Padre Island in Texas or coming in from New Mexico and Arizona over on the west side of Texas. Have nothing to do with stopping immigrants. They don't care about illegal immigration, because when they bring these people in, we've shown you before, they house them, they bus them all over the country. They fly them. They don't let them use IDs. They'll take them, let them get on airplanes without IDs.
Right.
It's total insanity.
Bring them to vote
Yep.
so they can swing the election in favor of the Democratic Party, at least this time around. And so now Senator Jeff Sessions, I guess the Pope's going to be addressing Congress.
I wonder if the Pope wants to see the 28 pages. Let's get all the secrets out. Why doesn't the Pope call for the release of the 28 pages? If he's really concerned, because our foreign policy since 9/11, 2001 is based on 9/11.
Right.
Okay. Ever since then, all the countries we've invaded, everything. And now, but there's 28 pages that talk about who's been involved, which Donald Trump has come out and said, I'm going to release them. I want people to know what's going on there. And people are freaking out saying, oh, there's no secret memos. What are they talking about? It's the classified 28 pages, which we've got video of Jeff Sessions and others calling out Rand Paul, victims' families, saying we want it. Jeb Bush even wants to see it. He's even said, he asked Richard Reeves if he's got them. Yeah, he wanted to know if Richard Reeves had them.
Oh, well, your big bro has.
Yeah, he made them secret, buddy. So why don't the Pope call for the release of the 28 pages?
You heard it here first.
I mean,
well, so when
ridiculous.
he was coming to speak before Congress last year, talking about wanting to sway immigration, climate change, the economy, and all these things, Jeff Sessions actually came out saying that this is dangerous, and actually spoke about him talking about not wanting to build a wall. He called him out, said, I would say that despite some of the biblical things, Nehemiah went back to Jerusalem and the Lord commanded him to build a wall. And, as we pointed out, the Vatican has a huge wall around it. And then he also says on immigration, maybe he wants to go to his home country of Argentina and ask them to take more people from the Middle East. They take almost none. Plus, has any socialist policy worked in Argentina or Brazil? Who do they call when there is a problem? They call the West, who has a free market system and has been able to create wealth. So again, that's what it's so important to do, is don't just take these people at face value for what they say simply because he's the Pope. He wants to be the leader of the world, the president. And it's bad when it's actually the Huffington Post, leftist media website, saying that the Pope wants to be the president of the world. Francis is also campaigning to lead public, secular, political discourse worldwide.
Right. This guy has the gall. And if you look at his past in Argentina, he was involved in kidnapping priests. He didn't say anything. He didn't protect these guys when he said he would. There's all kind of just seedy stuff in his past. And that was when Argentina was running death squads. They were killing people, the peasants during these revolutions. And he was involved in it. Not saying directly involved in it, going around killing people, but he was involved as a political leader by not stepping in and saying no and not using his importance to sway people or even to protect them. There was 2 priests in specifically mentioned in Leo Zagami's book. One of them's dead now, but one of them, he won't say anything about it because he was silenced because he was speaking out, and then they took him away for a while, tortured him, beat him up, then let him out on the street saying, as long as you don't say anything, you're fine. And,
Clearly
that's the kind of people the Pope's involved with, Right. And so why should we take this guy? He's just as bad as any of these other dictators out there.
Right. And has all the child molestation incidents that we've
get covered up,
thousands.
Yeah.
And then they just allow those popes or priests to go to different cities. They just kind of silence them and put them on.
It's going to transfer the problem.
You're on desk duty.
And this is an agenda that he hasn't come out and tried to stop. He hasn't said, no, I'm going to do a top-down, cleaning house effect in Vatican City. He doesn't do that, but he wants to go around and lecture everybody else while he sits behind his walls with his golden horde. And it's just totally disgusting.
Right. We actually spoke to some of the survivors there, to the women, when David Knight went to go cover the Pope's visit. And that's what they were saying as well. Why do you have people sitting in the front row who are involved in this scandal? They're being investigated. Why aren't we, the victims, sitting in the front row? Why won't you come talk to us? Why won't you recognize us?
Because that's not convenient for the narrative of you're bad because you're a human. We have to change our lifestyle. He's going to be all about preaching lifestyle changes, telling people they don't need air conditioning, they don't need cars, they don't need combustion engines, just trying to preach this utopia that technologically we're not there yet. We're not there to get, have free energy, even though I think we could have it in our lifetime if the chains were released from these other companies that are out there. But the Pope is just there to, I guess, control the unwashed masses.
Right.
I should say.
Yeah, he's got the moral high ground and he can push that. It's for the greater good. push the consciousness of the planet to prepare them for the prison planet, that the elite will, of course, be in control of all the resources. That's the issue here. I don't have a problem with saving the environment and saving the planet. And, I mean, I love this planet. It's a great place, but that's not, like you say, we could have free energy, we could have all those things, but the people that are in control and who want to maintain the control, they're not really for that. That's not their main mission.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much. And we're going to actually get Alex Jones' response to the Pope's hypocrisy and what he had to say about Donald Trump. But I wanted to first say a big thank you to everyone out there who has been supporting the InfoWar thus far throughout the years. Every time you guys go to the InfoWar store and purchase some of our products, we're able to send David Knight to go and confront the Pope there. Jakari Jackson, they get molested by the TSA trying to just get close to the Pope.
We had a crew of 5. We just sent down to West Texas.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is you're the reason why we're able to send reporters to go cover the stories that the establishment media will not touch.
And the products are great.
Yeah, we're going to be airing that report, an update on Scalia. They were actually able to speak with one of the sheriffs there who said that the protocol was not followed, which we've been saying that all along, is that there's a big issue with that. But I want you guys to go to the InfoWars store, get into these high-quality nutraceuticals. The Liver Shield is back, which means the #1 cleanse pack is back. I did this myself. I had tremendous success after the cleanse. I'm about to do it again, getting ready for bikini season, of course. And you're going to see some amazing results, just like I did. I know we've got my before and after pictures somewhere out there, but I think it's going to give you that little boost that you need to help change your lifestyle. It's those results. Oh, boy. I think you could use the cleanse pack there, Mr. Pope, or the Paracleanse, perhaps, and get rid of some of those demons.
They keep me warm at night.
Let's go ahead and see what Alex Jones has to say to Pope Hypocrite.
The Vatican has 200-plus foot walls. Can we put a photo up of that for TV viewers? Or just Google Vatican walls. Biggest, thickest in the world. You go in there, they shoot you. He hasn't taken one refugee in there. We are being flooded. We are being shot up. We are being attacked. We are a joke, the whole world. We have to pay for everybody's health care. We're going bankrupt. They're taking old ladies' houses for back IRS taxes they can't pay, whether they be black, white, Hispanic. Who cries for them? And you sit there and you say, we're racist because we have the most open immigration system in the world? What a creepy old evil-looking man. Creeping around, socialist, dirtbag. Him and Bernie Sanders, ought to marry each other. I mean, I am just sick of it.
So Trump responded just moments ago.
Honestly, the Vatican has massive walls around. We should build some walls like the Vatican. So perhaps he wants to move out of the Vatican. But if you look at the walls around the Vatican, I've been there, and those are walls.
Yeah, in fact, he's tweeting a whole bunch of pictures of those walls right now. Mr. Trump also saying, quote, it's disgraceful for the Pope to question his faith and warning the pontiff that, quote, if and when the Vatican is attacked by ISIS, everyone knows that ISIS's ultimate trophy is probably the Vatican. I can promise you that the Pope would have only wished and prayed that Donald Trump were the president.
And it's time for humanity to stand up in the InfoWar and say, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this, but you want to fight, you better believe you got one.
We believe in win-win, folks, treating people like we want to be treated. That's why we develop nutraceuticals with Dr. Grip and other top researchers, chemists, scientists, you name it. He's one of our advisors to come up with products like Anthroplex that is an original product that he made just for us. And this is a base system to make super male or super female vitality work even better. It is natural. It just helps get your body pumping and going in the way you need to be going. And Dr. Group is here till we go to break to tell us about the latest product at InfoWarsLife.com, Anthroplex, that out of the gates, and we do this all the time with a new product, we discount it out of the gates to get you to try it, knowing that you're going to love it. It'll sell out. So InfoWarsLife.com, Anthroplex, 15% off and free shipping for the next 2 days only when you get it with super male or female vitality. Let's go to Dr. Group. Why do you call this the foundation to start the fire, and then the super male takes you to the next level?
Well, we just look at the base problem that's going on right now in all over the world, which is the endocrine disrupting chemicals, the amount of estrogen that men have, the femininity of men, and what's going on even in children right now with low testosterone levels, low sperm count levels, and the problems that in the attack that we're seeing on the endocrine systems of both male and female. So I'm always looking for ways to boost that and to make it more effective and naturally get the body to start producing these hormones and balancing themselves. So what we decided to do was, how can we add a few other components in there that would actually boost the effectiveness of the super male vitality and at the same time address different issues that the male might have, so it would be a full approach. And one of those was zinc. And zinc is actually necessary for the production of testosterone. There's more and more studies coming out that zinc is essential for hormone balancing.
What is in the goatweed? You've got one of the purest, strongest organic forms of it. What's so magic about the goatweed?
Well, the horny goatweed was given that name because years ago in India, they noticed that a certain time of the year, this weed would grow and the goats would eat it and they would just go crazy with all the female goats. So that's how it was developed. It's called epimedium. And what that's been proven to do over thousands of years is increase sexual pleasure, help balance the male hormones. It can actually be used for women as well. But it really kind of resets and brings the hormone balance, improves sperm motility, and increases testosterone levels.
So it counters the stuff they've been throwing at us. Results will vary overall. All I know is dynamite. I mean, absolutely dynamite with the stamina, with the weightlifting, with the swimming. Folks, the new product is available. Anthroplex, available at InfoWarsLife.com. Dr. Group, thank you for developing this amazing product.
Thank you.
Well, we know that internet freedom is at peril. Every turn, they're trying to pass new legislation that would, of course, lock up the freedom that we have on the internet right now. We've reported before about Facebook and other social media outlets censoring posts. Meanwhile, they'll leave up ISIS beheading videos and things like that. Now, we've also talked about how one of Breitbart's reporters had their check mark removed off of Twitter. And this was apparently in response to a lot of social justice warriors. They didn't like the content that he was posting, so they got his check mark removed. So now he's not official anymore. Well, now it turns out that Twitter is actually shadow banning people in real life. It's real. It's happening every day. And this is according to an inside source that this reporter at Breitbart was able to speak to. And they're shadow banning politically inconvenient users. So according to this source who works inside the company, they said Twitter maintains a white list of favored Twitter accounts and a black list of unfavored accounts. Accounts on the white list are prioritized in search results, even if they're not the most popular among users. Meanwhile, accounts on the black list have their posts hidden from search results and other people's timelines. Now, shadow banning is called stealth banning or hell banning, and it's commonly used by online community managers to block spam. But this way, they do it sort of in a shadow sense, so the spammers don't they don't know that their status, that they've been blocked, because they would just, create a new account if that was the case. So now for weeks, people on Twitter have been reporting tweets from populist conservatives and members of the alternative right, cultural libertarians, and other anti-PC dissidents have been disappearing from their timelines. I know a lot of people have been saying they couldn't find me on Twitter, and I'm not even as outrageous as some people that are out there. But this is, of course, following Twitter's announcement of their Trust and Safety Council, which we told you about. It's packed with left-wing advocacy groups, as well as Islamic Research Center, the Wahid Institute. We have Sarkeesian, the girl that went to the United Nations to ask them to ban and start banning people on the internet who call girls stupid. And, these are the type of people that are now part of the Ministry of Truth there at Twitter. So now I know a lot of people say, well, you know what, fine, then jump off these social media accounts, get off Twitter, don't use their products. But that's the wrong move. What we need to do now, more than ever, is get louder than ever, have a bigger voice than ever. Twitter has been experiencing rapid decline in their stock shares. So this is the time for the investors to start looking and saying, wow, well, now they're trying to play political games and they're blocking out a huge voice, which another platform could rise up in its place for all of these disbanded users. So just like Alex Jones, he goes to Facebook, they want to ban our content, they won't post our articles or allow you to share our articles. So what does Alex do? Rather than jump off Facebook, he gets on Facebook mentions, and now he gets millions of views on Facebook. And that's what it's about, is just dominating, using their own platforms to dominate them. So everybody go join Twitter and follow all of the outrageous anti-PC accounts, including me. I'm at Leanne McAdoo. And that's not it. We also know that they are trying to see something, say something, the internet. If you recall that little program that was introduced following the September 11th, 9/11 attacks. Well, now Department of Homeland Security wants an extra $1 million next year so they can develop a public service campaign designed to increase awareness of online threats. So they just want, the Ministry of Truth is real. 1984 was not supposed to be an instruction manual. Jakari Jackson has more.
Thank you, Leanne. Now, you guys have probably heard about the See Something, Say Something campaign, and I took this to heart a couple years ago. I picked up the phone and I called the Department of Homeland Security because I was very concerned that I'd found out that a group was buying millions of bullets of ammunition. Now, that alone is not a crime, and let's say if I went to a sporting goods store like Cabela's or Academy Sports and Outdoors, if I saw a guy buying a case of ammo, I wouldn't think twice about it. But talking about this group, they not only were buying millions of bullets, they were also buying paper targets of little children. So I picked up the phone and I called the Department of Homeland Security and I said, hey, I know about this group buying these bullets. They're buying these paper targets of little children. They said, who are you talking about, sir? I said, the Department of Homeland Security. They said, thank you for calling. Which is to say, when you see something and you say something, they don't necessarily take it very serious. And now we have this article by Kurt Nimmo today. Feds roll out See Something, Say Something for the internet. And basically they're encouraging the citizenry to report, I guess is the best way that you could put it, on social media activity. But the issue is they're telling you that if you see something online to report it, but you guys also have to remember that ISIS is allowed to operate on many social media sites because they're monitoring their activity. And even if it is a legitimate ISIS site, or maybe it's not a legitimate ISIS site, we also have the document right here. Hackers trace ISIS Twitter accounts back to the internet addresses linked to the UK government. So ISIS is allowed to operate online on the social media sites, but they're also having IP addresses and other things linked to the UK government. So how secure are the things really? Now, this isn't to say that, you should just ignore, if somebody's saying they're going to blow up a school or something like that, you may take that serious. But also, there's going to be a lot of internet censorship. For example, a lot of people, they get on video games, they play Xbox Live or whatever, kids talking about, I'm going to come kill you and blah, blah, blah. With all these new social justice moderators out there documenting everything you say and do, you could get a visit to your house by a federal agent. And matter of fact, that did happen. Actually, I believe that happened here in Austin just a few years ago. And this is something a little bit off of the See Something, Say Something campaign, but I think it's also interesting. We have that Twitter is shadow banning real people and real happenings every day, says an inside source. Basically, if you have a conservative voice, you could be blacklisted, according to the article. and not be allowed to have your message reach as many people. By contrasting that, they also have a whitelist of people they promote, even if they're not very popular. So going all the way back here to the beginning of the deal, see something, say something. I'm not that convinced that this is going to do that much. The DHS department is spending about $1 million taxpayer dollars to get this thing started, and we'll see what happens. Thank you so much, and back to you, Leanne, in the studio.
Now, here's a little see something, say something that I can get into. This is a very blunt message coming from Captain Clay Higgins out of Louisiana. He is directing a warning at a gang there that's been kind of infiltrating their town, committing murders and a lot of violence there. They've been able to apprehend 10 of these guys. I guess 7 more are now on the run. And because of this fear that they could be potentially moving about, he has issued this extremely blunt warning to the people of his town, and now this video is going viral.
I encourage every citizen watching this to look into your own heart and find the American courage that conquers all evil. Come forward with information about these heathens that have terrorized your community. And for those who would use this message as a way to create false racial division in our country, take a close look behind me. Standing next to every cop is a leader of our black community. This is not about race. It's about right versus wrong.
I think that's going to have a really positive effect on that city. It's going to let people know it's time for people to stand up, take our country back, quit buckling under these heathens, and quit buying into this divide and conquer tactic. Now, today, the police have actually released the video of the attack that took place on an Iraq war veteran outside of a McDonald's in D.C. It was a hate crime, and that's why he's speaking out. He wants people to know that this was a hate crime. He says they targeted me because of my skin color. So we're seeing a lot of these events of people being attacked because they're white. And this is Christopher Marquez. He's 30. He's an Iraq war veteran. He was eating in the back corner of a McDonald's when a group of teens and young men approached him and said, "Do you believe that Black Lives Matter?" And then they attacked him. So, you know, the big issue here is that it's not racist. It can't be a hate crime because they're white. Only white people are racist. And that's why I really shut down the whole Black Lives Matter movement when they started going with that, because I don't agree with that. And we're going to start seeing some more of these attacks going on. And of course, the president has been completely silent about this attack, completely silent about the now 8 officers who've been brutally gunned down by assailants. But the president does have time to meet with D. Ray McKesson, who's, of course, the prominent Black Lives Matter activist. He's going to meet with him, other civil rights leaders. He's not going to go to Scalia's funeral, doesn't have time for that. But, of course, he has time to push the divide and conquer agenda. You know what? Let's go back to Captain Higgins. Let's see what he has to say about that.
On behalf of the St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Office, the Louisiana State Police, the U.S. Marshals, and every cop and law-abiding citizen from sea to shining sea, I'm Captain Clay Higgins, asking every patriot to stand up, share this video, and send a clear message to the world. We're Americans. We'd rather die on our feet than live on our knees.
This is Bernie Sanders, and I'm quite upset. If you guys saw the Iowa caucus the other night, you would know that I worked extremely hard for these votes. And the people that were working in the Iowa caucus took what I worked hard for and gave it to someone else. A lying, cheating, horrible human being by the name of Hillary Clinton. And I don't understand how anybody could like something like this. That you work hard for something your whole life and you earn something, and then you're expected to give it to someone else who's not as deserving and is too lazy or more of a piece of crap than you are. What kind of person would even think about something like that?
Hey, that'd be you, Bernie Sanders. Guess you just felt the burn. You can find more reports like this at Infowars.com. I'm Joe Biggs.
The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. Now is the time to secure Ancient Defense for you and your family. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. That's ancientdefense.com.
General, what do you think about the FBI saying that there was a terror alert on Monday about a potential Fort Hood situation?
The police are shoving people, shoving Alex, shoving the crowd.
Here we go, folks. I'm being assaulted.
Whether it's the radio show, the news websites, documentary films, or the nightly news, Infowars is the tip of the spear.
Is this another false flag stage attack to take our civil liberties and put more homeland security while sticking their hands down on the pants on the streets?
It's up to us to set brush fires in the minds of men and women everywhere, and that's what PrisonPlanet.tv is designed to do.
You watch, the Assad regime is going to be blamed or accused of using chemical weapons against the so-called rebels.
What we see now is a war against reality. It's a war against the truth.
It's more vital than ever that supporters of freedom become members of PrisonPlanet.tv and share their membership with up to 11 friends and family. Visit InfoWarsNews.com today. Become a member, share your membership, and help take the InfoWar to the next level. Infowars Life and InfoWarsLife.com is extremely excited to announce our latest release, Winter Sun, a revolutionary type of vitamin D3. Winter Sun is a premium quality vitamin D3 nutritional supplement. It is produced by extracting oil from healthy, nutrient-dense plants known as lichens. Every batch is analyzed for purity and D3 content. It's completely free of toxins and allergens. Visit Infowars.com today or call 888-253-3139.
My name is Cesar Melendez, and I'm running in a Democrat position for the sheriff of Presidio County. Presently, I live here in Marfa, Texas.
Mr. Melendez, we wanted to talk to you because we want to get a little bit of a context for what's going on here. It's been very difficult for us to get anybody to talk to us about what we and people all across the country see as irregular procedures here with us. We've had people who are head of the homicide division in D.C. as well as New York saying this is really strange, especially for someone of this stature. So we came here to try to talk to them to see if we could get some feel for the involvement of the U.S. Marshals in this. This took place over a very long period of time, so they clearly knew who they were dealing with over a long period of time. There are a lot of people in the chain of command that could have said we want to exercise greater care than we normally would instead of less care. So I want to get a little bit of background from you as to how things have been done in the past here. I understand there was an issue, one of the reasons perhaps why you're running for sheriff, when you were a deputy with the sheriff. Could you tell us about that?
Well, what I'm trying to do is I want to bring back integrity to the sheriff's office here in Presidio County. Okay, I believe that the department could run a lot better, could be ran a lot better with the proper supervision. That's a really big lack in that supervision, and this is coming from the top as far as the sheriff and the chief deputy. I don't feel that they're very knowledgeable in what they're supposed to know, what they're supposed to be doing. You know, I've run across that a lot as far as giving them advice in cases that they may have been looking into in the past.
Let me ask you, because a lot of people said because the judge did not go to the site, and it was a bit unusual because the first judge, Juanita Bishop, that we talked to, said, yeah, I passed this on because I couldn't go. And then she called up Judge Beebe, he couldn't go. And then they called Judge Guevara, and she couldn't go either, but she just did the inquest over the phone. So a lot of people ask, what kind of experience was the sheriff have who was there talking to her, telling her that there was no sign of foul play, that it was a natural cause, and that sort of thing? That's highly irregular for someone who's not experienced with homicide. Is he experienced with a lot of homicide investigations?
No, he's not that well experienced in them. I was usually the person he would look to take care of issues like this.
Well, let me ask you, there was a case a few years ago. In 2013, there was a young lady who was run over by a train. Are you familiar with that case?
Yes, sir, I sure am.
Okay, and the judge, presumably working with the sheriff, ruled that a suicide, but the investigator with the train company was very concerned about it. Her family was very concerned about it. The train investigator said it looked like her body had been placed on the tracks, that she was unconscious at the time, and yet they ruled it a suicide. Could you give us some insight on that?
Well, I know he called me out about 2 o'clock in the morning, which I thought was very odd. I was at home asleep. I wasn't on duty till 7 a.m. that morning. But he called me out. I went out over there and asked me to watch the street. He did tell me over the phone that somebody was hit by the train. So usually when I got that, I was like, well, okay, I'm the one going to be looking into this and everything. And my wife was like, well, I'll see you when I see you. So, you know, I showed up on the scene, and he basically just asked me to do traffic control, and which was kind of odd on my end, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to question you. And I went back and just stood there and watching the street between the park and the car wash. I know he had me take the young lady's purse to the mother, which I thought was irregular. I mean, there could have been something in there, texts or any type of evidence, fingerprints or anything that, you know, the purse should have been logged in as evidence and sent off to the crime labs to check for just about anything.
The family believed that there was foul play possibility. They wanted to see a full investigation done. There was no rape kit that was done on that. Is that right? No kind of toxicology reports to your knowledge? Or what do you know about that investigation?
About the only thing that I know was done was just toxicology. And an actual full-blown out autopsy was not done, which I thought was very irregular. It should have been done.
Mm-hmm. And no testing for rape?
No.
Could you tell us about the issue that you had with the sheriff that was initially a lawsuit and then was dropped?
Apparently, I was terminated back in 2015, and that was due to the fact I was turning in one of the deputies for tampering with evidence. I was filing a case against a man for being in possession of a handgun while he was under a protective order, which, according to state law, he cannot be in possession of a weapon. And this was, you know, in reference to family violence. Well, I called the sheriff. Well, he asked me to call him. The dispatchers did. He wanted me to turn the gun over to him to give it back.
The sheriff wanted you to turn the gun to the sheriff,
yes,
so he could give it back to this person,
yes,
who had a protective order on him.
Yes, sir. And I refused to do so. So he asked me to log in as evidence, and as I was doing that, I took photos of all the logbooks and everything. And next thing I know, Deputy Garcia is handing me some paperwork saying that the district attorney, Rob Ponton, dropped the charges, which he had no involvement in this case. The weapon was returned to the suspect's son, who he himself was a felon. So the weapon should have never been given to him from the get-go.
The son was a felon?
Yes, and it was released to him.
And why were you terminated in relation to this case?
I wasn't going to be quiet. I wasn't going to stay quiet. This was wrong. This was putting somebody's life in danger. I was not going to keep quiet. I was going to fight. And I fought till the very end.
And how long ago was this?
I'd say almost close to a year.
Okay, all right.
So would you say that there's a irregular pattern of procedure at this sheriff's department?
Yes, very regular. A lot of these department policies aren't made until after something happens. And even then, they're not something that's written down that you can go and file an Open Records Act to get. This is just word of mouth or a text message that's sent. And even then with Sheriff Dominguez, it's whether I want to or not to go by these policies.
So I'm sure you've read about the Scalia case. You feel that what happened out there kind of fits this irregularity?
Yes, I do. Yes, I believe more should have been done. I wish I could have been there so I could have seen the scene myself, but I honestly don't think enough was done.
What would you have done differently if you were sheriff?
Well, from what I understand, from what I've been reading, apparently the clothing had no wrinkles in it, so of course he lied still. The pillow should have been taken in as evidence if it was used to smother him. I'm just speculating here. For any saliva or any blood or anything like that on the pillow itself. An autopsy would have actually shown minute bruising under microscopes around the lip areas if he was actually, if force was applied to the face.
So, and how often does the county perform autopsies on unexpected deaths?
I know from my experience, if I ask a judge for one, I'll get it.
So it's pretty easy to get one if you request one. Okay.
Yes, sir, it is.
Lately, we've had trouble establishing a timeline for Scalia's death. Now, from your experience as being a deputy, what would have happened? Would they have called a deputy in who had called a sheriff and then so on and so forth, contact the justice of peace? How would that work out?
Usually they would get the law enforcement first, and we would arrive on scene and check the scene first. Check the scene, make sure there is no foul play or anything like that. And then usually we do contact the judge while we're in the process of doing that. Okay? While we're investigating, like I said, we notify the judge and they usually come out. I mean, I've never really had one like in this situation. I've never really had that before. They usually show up.
So this is unprecedented for not only a justice of the peace, but also a judge to not show up for a dead body.
I would say in my experience, yeah, because again, like I said, I know every time I've done something like this, they'll usually show up.
No matter what the distance is where they're at, even if it's like a 50-mile drive from them?
Yeah. I mean, I know we've had to call them out, being way out in the secluded areas.
Brain Force is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brain Force.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're gonna crash, you're gonna feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again until it became sort of a grand puzzle. For example, the L-theanine inside of it, that is activated by the different compounds in the yerba mate that we put inside of it as well. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a car will run on one form of junkie gas, but it runs really good on what it's designed for. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. Introducing Secret 12, the new Infowars Life Vitamin B12 formulation. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. That's why for real results, so many are having to turn to painful B12 injections, which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
This is Richard Reeves with Infowars.com. It is Wednesday before the big South Carolina primary coming up this Saturday, February 20th. And we are right here in Charleston, South Carolina, where you can see behind me the Arthur Ravenel Jr. Bridge. Beautiful bridge here, definitely an iconic landmark here in Charleston, South Carolina. But what we really want to talk about is how it looks like, as we reported in Iowa, that Jeb Bush is done. In Iowa, we called it. We were correct. We called it. Iowa, Jeb Bush was done. We went to a Jeb Bush event there in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and he did an event, and the only folks that basically showed up were his volunteer staff and crew, plus some Chinese guys that were all about the Bush family, bringing in business to the Chinese. So I guess obviously the Bush family going in decline here potentially can really impact the Chinese trade, and you've got Donald Trump coming in to bust that up. So what we're going to be doing is going around here in Charleston, South Carolina, talking to some folks to find out more about what their guts are saying about, are the Bushes done here in South Carolina? Now, what do you think about Jeb Bush?
He doesn't appeal to me much. Again, I don't know much about him or his policies, but I've never found him very intelligent. I don't think he seems to stand for much. I always feel like he's just doing what other people tell him to do or he should do.
And I like Jeb, but I'm not a supporter of Jeb Bush, and I don't think we need another Bush in the White House, truthfully.
I think Jeb Bush is a really terrific man, too. I really love his whole family. I voted for his brother. I voted for his father. I kind of fear that a third Bush up against Hillary Clinton would probably not win, and that breaks my heart.
I think Jeb Bush has been a very good governor. He's got a proven track record, but I don't think he's got the chutzpah, for the lack of a better word, to get in there and do the type of job Trump will do.
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle another Bush in office, I mean, he keeps saying he's got national security in mind, and, all that stuff happened on his brother's watch. I mean, if he's good for it, hopefully he learns from his brother's mistakes.
So you think the Bush connection with South Carolina, that might be pretty much kind of winding down, wrapped up?
If South Carolinians are smart, it should be winding down.
We are in Anderson, South Carolina, where it is only 2 days away from the big GOP primary this Saturday. Inside this hotel, Marco Rubio just took the stage, where he just announced yesterday a big endorsement from Governor Nikki Haley. And before we talk about Governor Nikki Haley, let's go back a couple of weeks ago when we were up in New Hampshire and we saw two big endorsements from South Carolina for Marco Rubio, one of which was House Rep Trey Gowdy and the other one was Senator Tim Scott. We confronted Trey Gowdy and Marco Rubio about Rubio's support of the TPP at the Council on Foreign Relations meeting last year and found out that Marco Rubio is not telling the truth about his support for the TPP. And we need to let the American people know about that. Fast forward to now, yesterday, Governor Nikki Haley announces her endorsement of Marco Rubio. What this all further demonstrates is the New World Order is circling their wagons around Marco Rubio's candidacy for president. So it's happening even faster than we thought, but nonetheless, the leaders of this race are still Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. I really still expect that Donald Trump will win this Saturday with Ted Cruz at second place, but look at that third place runner because the establishment is rapidly looking to consolidate all of their numbers behind Marco Rubio. The question will it be enough to push him past the first two runners? Now, another thing we talked about is the decline of the Bush family faction here in South Carolina. As you can see by this sign, Marco Rubio has now declared it. South Carolina is Marco Rubio country, further demonstrating that the establishment powers that be are rallying around Marco Rubio. We saw a half-filled auditorium Monday on President's Day where George W. Bush spoke along with Jeb, just further showing that their candidacy, Jeb candidacy, is probably headed for single digits on Saturday. So we'll be following up with reports yet to come. And in the meantime, stay tuned to watching Alex Jones on Infowars.com.
We have scored a direct stab in those sons of bitches' hearts. We got to keep running the knife in, though, folks. We got to keep running it in there. Not worry what they're doing, Dutch. You wanted to fight, you're getting it. You wanted to overrun us and poison us and take our families and kill us, You will die, not us! Choose which side you're on in the government and the military. And worldwide, choose which side you're on. The age of cowardice is coming to an end. The age of men will return.
Would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
Time is now. The age of the Patriot is peaking. America wouldn't even exist if not for the sacrifice of millions of unknown soldiers. George Washington himself, battling severe dysentery, crawled on his hands and knees in the dark to defend this great experiment known as the United States of America. Now there is an open media battle waging between the New World Order's Pope Francis and the awakening realization of complete tyranny with a bullseye sighted on millions of Americans. Caught in the crosshairs, presidential candidate Donald J. Trump, and Trump isn't backing down. Steve Watson writes, GOP frontrunner Donald Trump has promised to make public currently guarded secrets surrounding the 9/11 attacks should he be elected president. Speaking at a campaign event in Bluffton, South Carolina, Trump continued his onslaught on the Bush presidency by once again raising the issue of the attack on the World Trade Center on 9/11/2001.
We went after Iraq, we decimated the country, Iran's taken over, okay. But it wasn't the Iraqis. You will find out who really knocked down the World Trade Center because they have papers in there that are very secret. You may find it's the Saudis, okay? But you will find out. But it wasn't Iraq.
Trump was referring to the 28 pages of the original joint congressional inquiry into 9/11, which remained classified and withheld from the public on grounds of national security. The pages are already known to implicate the Saudi royal family in financing the supposed hijackers in the United States prior to the attacks. Speaking at a press conference regarding the missing pages in 2014, Kentucky Representative Thomas Massey lobbied for the release of the documents, stating he read them and that they challenged him to reconsider everything he knew about the event.
I had to stop every couple pages and just sort of absorb and try to rearrange my understanding of history for the past 13 years and the years leading up to that. It challenges you to rethink everything. And so I think the whole country needs to go through that. It's going to be difficult and it could be embarrassing, but that is no reason to keep the truth from the American people.
Donald Trump has repeatedly attacked Jeb Bush on the campaign trail and at debates by raising the issue of 9/11 and the intelligence warnings that were provided to the Bush administration and subsequently ignored. Jeb Bush has avoided the issue and even mocked those who raise it.
Would you be in favor of seeing the 28 pages that have been redacted from the 9/11 Commission report? Would you be wanting to see those released?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. You got them?
Well,
Andrea may have them.
Hopefully we can get them.
My son's dead, and I don't know all the facts.
Yeah, I'd like to see them. You got them?
Keeping it a secret about those who facilitated it must end now.
Trump's comments have prompted establishment Republicans and conservative talking heads to label him a 9/11 truther and a radical kook. His enemies are coming out of the woodwork, fresh on the heels of a big Catholic no-no by legitimizing contraception as a lesser evil in the face of the World Health Organization's nefarious Zika virus rollout. Pope Francis is weighing into the U.S. presidential election, saying Donald Trump is not Christian. ABC News reports, when asked by a reporter, can a good Catholic vote for this man, Francis responded by saying, a person who thinks only about building walls wherever they may be and not building bridges is not Christian. The Pope is the spokesman for the decimation of the world's cultures by what in Europe is clearly either a horrendous mistake or a deliberate action. Pope Francis broke new ground when he unleashed his temper on adoring Catholics after stumbling from giving a hug to a disabled person in a wheelchair. The Pope is losing his temper on his followers for a reason. Because Pope Francis knows a new world order is right around the corner, and he doesn't need his followers anymore. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching the show. We'll see you here again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central.
Knockout is back. If you want a product that has 10 known ingredients that naturally get your body to relax, your brain to relax, so you get deep, restful sleep, Knockout's it. InfoWarsLife.com. L-theanine, hops flower extract, lemon balm extract, valerian root extract, chamomile flower extract, L-tryptophan extract, melatonin, and more. All organic, all the natural sources. It's the same price as leading brands of melatonin that are 3 milligrams a piece. It has 3 milligrams, the standard recommended dose for an adult, and it just synergistically puts everything in there.
InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.